Welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. Today, our topic is about awareness, which is the very first habit of transformation. If you've ever climbed a steep hill or mountain, you know the sound of your own breath, that steady rhythm of effort. The ground beneath you slipping just a little with every push or step. And there's always a moment in the climb where you start to wonder, am I going to really ever reach the top? You're tired, you've been at it for a while, and the summit still feels a little bit far away. But here's the truth most people never see. When it feels the hardest, you're often closer to the top than you ever thought you were. That's when awareness matters most. Awareness tells you, keep pushing, you're almost there. No blind effort, but conscious, deliberate effort. The climb of life isn't smooth, and it almost never turns out the way we thought it would. Every one of us has a rock. The responsibilities, family, relationships, business, the discipline, the change that we're trying to make. We push, we strain, we sweat, and sometimes we stall. That rock doesn't represent punishment. It represents purpose. And every push, every small movement forward builds strength, even when we can't see the summit. The real challenge isn't strength, it's awareness. Most people stop pushing right before the breakthrough because they mistake fatigue for failure. They think, I must not be strong enough, good enough, worthy enough, whatever it is. When in truth, they were closer to a breakthrough than they thought. Perhaps just one push away from a breakthrough towards momentum. There's a moment I call the bonk, or when I trained to run my marathon, it was called the wall. You've been pushing, giving everything you've got, and then suddenly the rock slips. It feels like you're going backwards. You lose ground, and sometimes it rolls right over you. You end up back at the bottom, bruised and discouraged. That's the place where most people quit. They go into what I call the fetal position. They stop moving, stop confronting reality, because it's safer to stay down than to face the truth that they must climb back again. Get back on the horse that just bucked you off. Open your heart and put yourself out there into another loving relationship. But here's the hard wisdom that Jim Collins talks about in his best-selling book, Good to Great. We must confront the brutal facts. And the brutal fact is, you can't stay where you are and expect to grow. It just doesn't work that way. You either get up and push again, or you stay comfortable, settle for good enough, or the way it is, mediocrity, normal. And good, as Collins reminds us, is the enemy of great. Awareness is that pause between pushes when we confront the brutal facts. It's the moment you step back, take a deep breath, and ask, what's real? What's true? Who am I? What am I pretending not to see? That's where wisdom begins, not in doing more, but in seeing more. When we quiet the noise long enough to listen to ourselves, we start to notice the patterns, the habits, the excuses. Awareness isn't judgment, it's observation with honesty. It says, here's where I am, and here's where I've been avoiding responsibility. Once you see it, you and I, we have the ability to change it. It's the pause between stimulus and response that we talked about last week that Covey shares in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And then something amazing happens. You push again, this time with clarity, purpose, and courage. You're aware of the slope, the struggle, the rhythm, the timing, and the possibility of growth. And suddenly, the climb, your challenge, your hurdles seem clearer. You understand that growth comes from pushing through those struggles with courage and hope. You crest the hill. And in that instant, gravity changes sides. Momentum begins to work for you. You didn't suddenly get stronger. You just stayed aware, stayed present, and kept doing the work. Think of the push as if you were pushing a rock up a hill. You push and you keep pushing, and when you reach the crest, now the rock begins to roll downhill, and you move from resistance to flow. Forces bigger than you begin to take over. That's what growth through resistance feels like. Momentum and growth born from awareness and pushing through the struggle. Moving from good to great. So I want to leave you with this. Where in your life are you pushing the rock uphill and thinking, I'm failing, when in reality, you're inches from the top? Awareness is the first habit of transformation. It's the mirror that shows us truth, not to shame us, but to free us. The goal isn't perfection, it's honesty. When we see clearly, we can act courageously. Good is the enemy of great, and greatness begins the moment we become aware of where we've stopped short. So keep pushing. Don't bonk. Stay aware. Go inside for strength. And don't seek validation from the outside. Your breakthrough might be closer than you think. Thank you for climbing with me today. Share your thoughts below. I'd love to hear where awareness has shifted something in your life. And this Friday, we'll talk about what comes next. Freedom through choice. How to use that awareness to create lasting change. See you on Friday.